So guys, I figured it out. You should not show something if you don't know what is going on. This one here works because I still showed way back in the past, many sessions before this one, that I introduced a socket. And how can I show you the socket? So if you go to the skeleton mesh and the skeleton asset, we see here the socket, this one, and socket hand R socket pistol. That's the one I use. And if we go into the world settings, you will also see how it is used. So we make it bigger, and we go to the blueprint again, and what I'm doing now is selecting this one here again. So here basically you can set the socket name and compile and save, and then we should see the broken. Yes, there it is again. So it does not work. Of course it does not work because we don't edit the animation yet, the edit keyframes, which is what we will do now. And for that we go back into our held object editor, and we will introduce a new function in the expert section. And here we say modify anim sequence. So modify anim sequence needs to be implemented. It's a quite complex function. And let me check how I did it before. So again, we need the loop here. We need to iterate over all frames, like always, only if we have a valid animation sequence. And then we need to store this to local variable L underscore index. Then we need to get the pose, get pose, get frame, we split struct twin, get it in raw values. Hopefully there's no interpolation. If you ever step into such issues, please let me know, then I will try to fix it. So now we are in the loop, and this is a bit complex, but you can understand what we're doing here. So we basically want to apply all local transforms to the bone track. That's how it's called in Unreal Engine. And for that, you need to start with set bone pose. Then we of course need the held object bone name, which we connect here. And we need to get it in world space. No, we need to set it in world space. And I think we can also do a split struct pin here. Yes. So let's see. And we need to get our, where is it? The corrections array. Get. Then we need to say also here get reference. Need to split, no, not promote to a variable. Go back, please. Right click, split struct twin. We need to set the location and transform, no, the rotation, sorry. And we need to get the index, local index, not the global index, local index, please. Somehow this does not work. I don't know why, but we are smart and can work around this issue. So scale should be 1. We don't want to change the scale. Otherwise we will see very weird, huge pistols, for example, which we don't like, to be honest. And we also need to get the bone pose then from the held object, of course. Connect this one to here. And we need to say in local space. Very important, in local space. So then let me check. Yeah, we will promote this to a variable as well, to local one. L target bone transform. So we set this here, of course. Yeah, this looks fine. And yeah, let me do a double click here and make it a little bit prettier, more polished. So what we now need is a sequence node. Press S, left click again, shortcut. Super convenient. And we need to create 3 arrays basically to store those locations and rotations and scales. So we say L underscore positions. You will see why I named this position, because that's how the Epic developers decided to do it. And here we need to create an array, make it an array, yeah, change variable type. You know what we are doing. And we need to add an element. So that's the first one. Here. And we need to get our transform. Split struct pin. Select the location. And we are done. Same needs to be done for rotations. So here we introduce a new variable as well. Say rotator. Oh no, these are quaternions. Quaternion, quad. Say L underscore rotations. That's how the API is. Otherwise we cannot use it, which we will see in a few seconds or minutes. Depends on how fast I am. And so how do we get the transform again? Transform, split struct pin, connect the rotation, Shift A, Q to align everything. So the last one, that's the importance one. We duplicate this one, is also in vector, and we say, how is it called? Scales. Get this one as well. Add an element, and we are using here 1, 1, 1. And let's move it a little bit down to have some space. This one a little bit up. So the loop is now done. It basically gets the pose. That's a huge structure with every bone track, and you can still use those nodes, get bone pose or set bone pose, to set in world space or get in local space. It depends on what you're trying to do, and then save it back to the structure, and then we can use this for conversion. You could do it more easily, or not more easily, you could also do it with those transform nodes, but I really like this pose because it takes care of a lot of stuff for us. So, and now we are done basically, but we need to store those local transforms into the bone track of the animation sequence, and this one took me quite some time to figure it out. I will explain this to you in a very quick way, and you might hopefully understand it better than me when I started working with it. So what we need to do is get the animation sequence, and there's a controller object, and there we can say set bone track keys. And now you need, or you might know why I said position, rotation, and scaling, because we can just use those arrays here. Sadly, it does not store transforms. It is only in arrays for those data types, but that's how it is. But we can still use it for our use case. It's still fine, and we can align stuff here as well a little bit, move it to the right, and of course, very important, set the bone name. So that's how we can store those calculated values into the animation. And here we can also use a branch node. So this node returns false if something goes wrong. And for that, we can use our print string node. Move it down. So here we can use the help.bone name and the animation sequence. So it says error failed to apply animation keys in animation sequence. Then we get the full path for the correction bone. Let's say here for the health object bone. So now we are done. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it works. So if we go closer, we can press the F key. So we are very close now at our Manny, at our editor utility, and go to the details panel. And here we see all the world transforms basically, or let's say relative transforms in this case. And we can apply them to the animation sequence if we forgot something. So here we need to go modify anim sequence and check this flag here, so that we call it can call it in the editor. And here we can say save animation sequence, but let me show you also something more. So if we browse to this animation sequence here, if we open it, we will see, edit the bones hierarchy. So we will see that the handgun bone is attached or is constrained to the hand bone, which is completely wrong, right? That's not something we want. And if we click on this button here, magically the animation sequence is adapted, and hopefully we will see a good hand location. So it works already, kind of, but this bone is messed up. So what we can do now, as we have the tools for it, we can do a right click, scripted asset actions, character tools, constrain bones from data table, and I think it's called constrain bone, constrain all bones. Okay, let's quickly open this one. We don't want to modify the handgun bone. Is it there? Yes. So we can duplicate. I think we can also duplicate a row, if I remember correctly. Insert row, duplicate. Constrain all bones, constrain. Let's call it constrain IK bones. IK VB bones. So, and we remove this part here. Handgun bone. Constrain bone. Oh no, that's not the bone. Wait. Let me check. Where is this bone? Is it there or not? Maybe I didn't see it. Here is the handgun bone. So this one needs to be removed. Can we remove this one? Yes, we can. Delete. So save everything. And we should able to modify our bones. So as we see, this one is messed up, and we now can reconstrain the bones very easily. So our tools, which we developed so far, constrain bone, and then we need to select the second row, and it also modifies our sequence. And if you go back to the sequence, you see, yeah, perfectly constrained again. So tool is quite stable and works as expected. So let's play the game. I'm going to full screen and press the Q key, pistol pose, and yes, magically it works. Look at this, guys. So I hope you still could follow everything we did so far and like the session. So we have now a proper pistol pose. We reconstrain the bones. We can edit the handgun bone with this tool here. So yeah, it was quite an exhausting task, but we get it working, and we are happy now to have this tool where we can play around with it. And in the next sessions we will extend it a little bit more to get also static meshes working, and in a longer session maybe as well the two-hand poses, because this solution might not work there. But yeah, that's the end of the session, and I really hope you liked it. See you in the next session.